So let's suppose this is the runway I'm gonna land. So a straight-in approach, my horizon would look like this. So I'm coming, keeping it in the middle, the touchdown point, keeping it in the middle, and we'll touch down here. So let's go for that's a no flap approach called a straight-in approach. So P63 was in a left-hand turn, we call it the base turn, and his seeing of the runway would be a little higher, and as he would be moving in, he can't look at his back, so he's turning, and that's how he's gonna land here. So his approach is higher, he's high on the approach, he can't see anything under him, while the B17 would be somewhere over here. He could totally see on his left and top, but P63 couldn't see what was coming below him, and he was in a constant turn trying to land with a higher approach. That's what has happened. Hello and assalamu alaikum to my channel. Yesterday, a sad incident happened in the aviation history once again. In Dallas, the United States, one of the bombers was hit by a World War II P63 aircraft. So investigation is on its way, but as the videos I've seen, I just want to pitch in my point of view. It's a really sad incident. My condolences to the families, those who lost their lives. Every day a pilot who loses his life is definitely sad for other aviators. But we have to talk about that so that in the future we could have reduced all these incidents, so that the safest mode of transportation on planet Earth could become much safer. So what could have happened by seeing only the two videos available here? By the way, we are locked down here again in China. People are dealing with other things than we are dealing with the lockdowns still. Well, anyhow, there are different kinds of landings which aircrafts follow. So normally for the heavier planes, for the transport planes, and for the passenger planes, they call it a straight-in approach or a no-flap approach. So for that, the aircraft is aligned with the runway from miles away, and slowly, comes down. So it is aligned with the runway, and it's low on approach, and you touch down really smoothly. But for fighter planes, especially for the trainers, a different approach is used. Is that, for example, that's my 12 o'clock, right? That was a left-hand turn. So on a left-hand turn, when you're on the downwind, the first downwind, and you're flying parallel to the runway, so what you do is, when you cross the touchdown point, which is on the other side, once you cross that touchdown point, and you wait until the touchdown point is at 8 o'clock of yours. So 12 o'clock, you could easily guess where the 8 o'clock is. And then you turn towards the base leg. That's called the base leg. Once you reach the base leg, and again you look for 8 o'clock, when the runway's touchdown point is at your 8 o'clock, you initiate the final turn, you get the power back, you change the speed into height, and you put 20% of throttle most of the time, okay, with the aircrafts I have flown. So you put 20% of the power, and then your nose gets down, and you're in a constant turn until the touchdown, and you land down, while maintaining the minimum landing speed, which could be, P63, P63, I think it's 80 knots. So maintaining 80 knots and turning and keeping the touchdown point right on your window, right in the window. So, and then you aim for that point, and you just maintain the speed and the bank and the touchdown point. And you don't see anything else while landing, because that's the most critical phase of flying. So P63 pilot was doing the same thing. He was keeping the touchdown point on his canopy, and he was maintaining the speed, I mean, increasing throttles, or maybe he was preparing for a go-round, because I think it's an air show, so he was not coming for a full stop landing. I think he was just going round, and then, you know, just showing off, you know, that shows whatever happens. So I see that it is configured for landing, but B-17 was definitely coming for a landing and straight in approach. So his glide path was constant. He was constantly coming towards this one, and there was no way that he could have, you know, taken some evasive actions, because not much time, because the P63 was coming for landing or touch and go, and was in a constant bank. So P63 could not have seen the B-17 coming in. Now, whose fault is that? It's very hard to say at the moment, but the air traffic controller should have given a warning, because you can't give two planes. Most of the times when the straight-in approach, the no-flap landing approach, or the long one, which are in a layman language, is given at around, when you're 5 or 6 nautical miles away from the runway, you give your final call that, okay, I'm going to come in and going to land. And they tell the approach, what approach they're doing, no flap or straight in or full flaps or half flaps or 20-degree flaps, whatever. They do tell, okay, at the time before landing. And P63 would have given the call at the base leg. What's the base leg? That's when the runway touchdown point is at your 10 o'clock, not 8 o'clock. It's at your 10 o'clock. 12 o'clock, if it's a mirror image, pardon my sides, I don't know. So 12 o'clock and then 10 o'clock. When the runway is at 10 o'clock, you initiate your final descending turn with maintaining the minimum speed of the aircraft and land. So at that time, they also gave a call. And that's closer to the runway. That's around 2 or 3 nautical miles away from the runway. But P-17 would have given call at 5 nautical miles that is coming to touchdown. So ADC should have warned P-63 for a go-round, or should have told them. And even P-63 would be aware. But I'm telling you, as a pilot, I mean, pilots are concentrated on landing than the calls at that time. So once he had given the base leg call for the final turn and land, ADC should have told him to go round. B-17, when he heard the base leg call, he should have initiated a go round, or he should have. You can't change courses, but I mean, you would have pitched up and, you know, go around. So right now, the investigation would tell at what time these two planes gave their final calls, and why didn't ADC let it go around. So there's no element of, I think, terrorism involved in this one. There's no deliberate, because the plane was in a balanced turn. So hopefully the investigation will cover all the areas. That's all from my side for today. Thank you very much. See you next time, and be safe, fly safe.